Welcome back, everyone, to Crisis in the Kremlin. And this time, last time we did the Moon Research Station. This time, let's see what happens. So, going back to the screen, we can see that there's some problems with the loyalty of the states. So, I try to work on that, essentially. The PRC, we do have 89 relations with them, but that's not 90 relations, and we don't have the requisites to invite them to the Comic-Con, which is a bit of an issue because that was one of the main reasons I wanted to do all of that. And we're starting to have problems in the realm of finance and the budget. So we are going to be changing things around a little bit. I increased soldiers living because in case of any unrest, and the KGB financing, because in case of any unrest, you absolutely need to have the loyalty of those guys. So yeah, just increase that a little bit to suppress any problems that might occur. So now we get this event called the end of a 5-year plan, which happens, at the end of the 5-year plan. Another 5 years of plan is going to end, and we need to make demands for the new one. If you think that the demands are too low, the country can get more, double the demands. If you think that the country demands are too high, you can lower them. In other case, you can let it be the same. The 5-year plan's objectives are either being fulfilled or not, and you can raise them or lower them, because that's how the Soviet economy worked. Everything had a target, a quota, and that had to be reached. And if it wasn't, everything would be fucked up, and often that was the case. And this event sucks. So at the end of a 5-year plan, you get the ability to either leave the demands the same, increase them or decrease them, but the problem is it always takes away some resources because that's representing you kind of investing or failing the plan. The next event is Sakharovs' letter. In 1980, one of the creators of the Soviet H-bomb, Professor Sakharov, was exiled in a town of Gorky. Might have been the town of Gorky, for his support of opposition and protest against Afghanistan intervention. Now, Sakharov, he forgot the A, sent you a letter in which he promised to focus on scientific work and stop public protest if his wife allowed to go to Moscow in order to improve her health. It will be considered to be a rise of a political freedom by the party in the world. However, it can encourage opposition to continue destroying our country. Love these event styles. We can only just ignore it. Yeah. So here comes the budget. As you can see, it's pretty bad because we're losing money every turn, and our budget has gone down to basically back to 3,000, which is the standard. Religious education, we are going to say ignore it. Moving on, we're going to continue the price rising of the anti-alcohol campaign, because that's good, because we still have income problems, so we get a little bit of extra money to spend. And I can't remember what I decided to do with it. What did I decide to do with it? I want to bribe people. Okay. Just for that, a little extra bit of loyalty. We still have our stats that are superior to the USSR in 1986, so that is relatively good. As you can see, the export especially is rising, and it's gone up to 8. So that is a lot. And medicine is also rising, so that's pretty good. It's going to make people a little bit happier. Yeah, that's good. What do I spend those extra monies on? Yeah, okay. So now there's the bombing of Libya. So essentially what happens is, after deployment of Navy in Libyan Aquatoria, blaming them in support of international terrorism and attacks on airports in Rome and Vienna, the Americans have decided to make an airstrikes at Libyan strategic points. How will the Soviet Union respond? So we can either voice protests, stay neutral, support Libya in exchange for oil prices growth, or start the Soviet military operations in Libya. We're going to support Libya in exchange for oil prices growth, which is going to increase the oil price and maintain Libya in the socialist camp. In other news, we can invite India to Comic-Con because Kashmir is Indian now. Iran is still a bit of a thorn in our side, as is Pakistan, and PRC relations are still at 79. As you can see, we have that minus 26 others voice in the income, which is making me quite mad, but whatever. Then we get the event Unearned Income, which is essentially about people just, I don't know, not working in traditional things. And we decide to continue the struggle against unearned income. Now, among those is actually interesting because one of the parasites, quote unquote, that were, and as you can see, like 24/7 work time, always work for the motherland. One of the parasites that was listed is illegal immigrants, because the Soviet Union actually had an internal migration sort of restriction by law. Called the propiska system. So if you didn't have this propiska of a place, you couldn't live there, like legally, and you couldn't get a job at like a state factory or something. So yeah, that's kind of derpy. Illegal immigration existed in the Soviet Union as well. We limited the Slavs in Russia. It's just that it was within the republics, so within your own country. Then we get the Moscow City Committee, which is essentially about Yeltsin being a little dick. It says, like, the loyal party member Yeltsin, but no, he's not a loyal party member, so we're gonna prevent him from increasing his own power at the expense of us, because we don't necessarily enjoy him. He's not a fun person. And, yeah, just continuing to improve those economic stats. The cultural contentment is actually very high. And the stability is still decent. We still have a lot of military power, which is, of course, quite useful because the Western imperialists are still dangerous. We don't want them. The next event is the continuation of the Détente, which is an annoying little event that you get like every once in a while, where the Americans, if you're at low relations, essentially force you to pay money for détente. Then they try to continue SDI, but we just do a protest at the UN, which just basically status quo. It's just like, whatever. We don't like you, but what are we gonna do? Yeah, we don't have the funds to reply to SDI in any way. And in fact, we have so little funds, and we're going to change around from diplomacy a little bit to KGB loyalty, because as you can see, the KGB loyalty is getting lower, probably because we've used them, so we want them to be topped up. And what else is there? Oh yeah, more police state. Yeah, as you can see, because we used them, their loyalty has gone down. I don't know why the general's loyalty has gone down, but well, that's just how it goes. So 24 million to spend, and yeah, can do that on the generals. Probably should have increased medical technology expenses, but whatever. And we still got some spending in the economy, but the most important place there is the services, because it's going to increase our competitiveness, and that's not a bad thing at all. And here we go, we get a glorious event, Soviet weakness. Matthias Rust, Western pilot, who illegally landed on the Red Square. Minister of Defense Dete Yazov says that anti-air divisions didn't interrupt the flight, because after the incident with the South Korean plane, which is when the Soviets accidentally shot down a Korean passenger airliner with like 200 people on it or something. They weren't allowed to shoot down civilian aircraft. I love that sentence. They weren't allowed to shoot down civilian aircraft. Moreover, Chicago Convention only allows to demand landing from light sports planes, which is a lot harder than destroying them. Some figures claim that our marshals and generals aren't professional enough to stop this flight, while ignoring the fact that Soviet anti-air systems' purpose is to repel attacks, which can deal significant damage to the country. Our economy simply can't afford prevention of trespassing when we have a 60,000 kilometers long border. So, what do? There's 4 options. There begin the cleaning inside military, aka the purges. Blame generals and purge army staff. Claim that we allowed Rus to cross the border or send protests to his country. We're gonna claim that we just allowed him and he made meeting with Comrade leader or something. The next important event is private business. Reformers suggest to legalize small private businesses in the USSR, which would be represented by artels, cooperatives, etc., while also claiming that there is no exploitation of people in the sphere. Your decision. We decide to agree because that's going to switch our country to a state plan with market elements, which we kind of desperately need because our finances are in the shit. But that's only because we need, because otherwise we'd be continuing the planned economy. The next really important event is the debureaucratization of ministries. Today, our General Secretary received a letter from Comrade Ryzhkov, who suggests to decrease enormous Soviet government by closing and uniting some ministries. So there's 3 options here. Either begin the plan, decrease some of them, or nothing is going wrong. Begin the plan is a terrible idea. It fucks you up. But decreasing some does help you with the budget and the efficiency of everything. So unneeded positions such as vice ministers and helpers of helpers were eliminated, and we gained some resources. There are only a few protests against this decision. Otherwise, it would have been a lot of protests, because that's a lot of people's essentially jobs that you're fucking up. And that's not the greatest thing in the world. In a country where public employment is so important. Now, hopefully after these reforms, we can just kind of coast along with everything as usual, because we're a bunch of retarded conservatives. Increase the oil price and extraction should hopefully help our economy. But as you can see, the profit is going down, and the budget has gone back to around 3,100, so we have made some successful reforms, and we can eliminate some disloyal, which is not a bad thing at all, because we still have that KGB power. Nuclear-free world is, we can only take it because we have so many reformers, and it's essentially, though, just an internal communication, being like, yeah, we want to move towards denuclearization. Then some more nuclear, everything is quiet. That minus 39 others, but we are getting 600 million rubles, so 6 trillion rubles, per turn in exports, so that's good. That's keeping our economy afloat. So our expansion of the Comic-Con and free trade with France, definitely something that we did correctly. I tried to increase the services, but it's not working. As you can see, our industrial power is at maximum. However, so I've been told after I actually played this run that all these stats might be lies, essentially. Someone might be lying to you, because as you can see, we have a lot of corruption. So there might be a lot of people just making these numbers up, which is an amazing thing to put into a game, actually. And you'd never realize without someone who actually knows the game very well telling you. But whatever. Elections in Korea, we cannot do anything, because I don't think you need to be, I think... someone who's invite South Africa to the Comic-Con. You need to be someone who's very, very aggressive in foreign policy, like Trotskyist or something, to interfere, I believe. And there's some nasty business still going on in the Middle East, and you will see soon about that. We're trying to pacify Afghanistan, but it's a mess, just like in real life. every once in a while you get these ecological catastrophes if you don't put at least like 150 in the budget to ecology. So yeah, that's nasty, and that's, kind of bad and not fun. More anti-alcohol, thank you so much. Let's just increase that vodka price and people just keep buying it. Just amazing. Very, very amazing. And I tried to top up my reserves. Now, Yeltsin decides to be a big dum-dum and criticize us. In slow reforming dogmatism and fuck you, we're gonna criticize him back and knock that fucker down a little bit because he's an alcohol abuser. Which is true. Fucking Yeltsin. Yeah, we're still paying a bunch to the KGB, which is actually gonna help increase the corruption, because after 40 in envelopes, corruption increases. Before, it doesn't. It's considered par for the course. Corruption is also increasing because of liberalization. Now there's a big, important event. So, Iran-Iraq conflict. Comrade, the long war between Islamist Iran and dictatorial Iraq has gone to positional phase and calmed down for a time. The USA still haven't reacted to this. How shall we react, considering that the war had started by Iraq with handouts of the US? So there's many options. There's support Iraq, support the Iran. I love it. Russians just always seem to manage to put articles, like, the little V article, everywhere, because that thing doesn't exist. Like, V doesn't exist in the Russian language. It's just, it's just words, okay? So it would be support Iraq or support Iran. You can't say the support of, okay? It's just support of. But whatever, it's just weird. Start the military intervention in Iraq or in Iran, or do nothing. We pick start the military intervention in Iran. So, our troops, with the support of local left-wing opposition, along with the counterattack, Iraqi troops entered Iran and rapidly took Tehran. The Islamic government fell, and the power was transferred to the Transitional Council, which was formed a government of national unity led by the Mujahideen of the Iranian people. So, with that note, with Iran entering the socialist camp, we are going to end this episode. Hope you've enjoyed, and the next time, we're going to see if we can keep this union from falling apart, because despite our successes in the foreign policy arena, internally things are going down the shitter. So yeah, let's see if we can fix this stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow, or well, the next time Crisis comes up.